Hi folks, make an ass of yourself. It's one of the few free pleasures left. I did a drawing, and I think it's my original, what a strange word, Perverbs. What is a perverb? First I was stupid enough to think that I had made up the word, but a perverb is like this. You can lead a horse to water, but what if he's another color? In other words, you play around with proverbs and do whatever you want. And it goes way back, it's older than me, and I'm pretty old. And remember what it says in Ecclesiastes, Kohelet, it says, there is no new thing under the sun. And so we're going to do from the book of Perverbs, and this is the illustration for today. You can't avoid Okay folks, pardon that interruption. You know, life interrupts art all the time. Is this art? What's art? Ars longa vita brevis. But that's Hippocrates, and he was referring to the fact that you need to see a lot of rare diseases before you can treat them. So art just meant skill in diagnosing, not art the way it's tossed about now, which makes it better than life, right? It's all art. Art is communication. And if you do it very well and people like it and want to pay for it, they call it art so that they can sell it later for more money. Okay, so you read the inscription. So what does it say, Thelma?
The leading 7 candidates for president, the president. Wow, they all look alike.
Wow, they all look alike. Well, it's America, you know. They all look alike, and they all are alike, and that's the problem. And elections. Here's a proverb, elections. The French on top, a trap for fools, Jean-Paul Sartre. He said that, I think, in the 50s, actually. And, see, that's Sarkozy, but Le Pen, Sarkozy is supposedly a Democrat who lives in, who vacations in New Hampshire, is an American fool. I mean, American. Likes America a lot, and Le Pen is a French fascist. So elections are trap for fools. Well, that's a whole program by itself. So you know, if you got nothing better to do that day, I guess you could vote if you want. But vote without any illusions. And if you think if you just press a little button, going to make a big deal in everyone's life, forget it. You got to work every day and do good things. It's not easy, and we have a system that's basically corrupt from top to bottom. And here's part of the corruption here, as evidenced in this and every future election from now. And Will Rogers, the great American humorist of the 20s and 30s, he said, more elections are divided between sundown and sunup than between sunup and sundown. Get it?
That means they're fixed, right?
Stolen.
Stolen.
Yeah. A vote-stealing control panel, you see that? They got that now. And this presidency is brought to you by the Diebold Computer Corporation. All right. Now, what a country this could be, but what country is it? All right. It wasn't until a long time after I first heard Patrick Henry say, give me liberty or give me death, at just before the American Revolution. When he said, give me liberty or give me death, he owned only 15 slaves at the time. But later on, after Americans were able to compete against the British. The British appointed, England exploited all their colonies, and America was just a colony. Later on, maybe he did so well, maybe he was able to own more than 15 slaves. But George Washington, for instance, owned 216 slaves. But that's because he was leader and the first president. Oh my God. All right. So America has a long history like that, I think, of deception. Until 1912, only 10% of the people, I think I've told you this before, but I don't know if you remember, only 10% of the people could vote here, could vote for the Constitution in 1789, was it? Yeah. You had to own property. You couldn't be a woman. You couldn't be, you had to be 21. You had to own property. You had to be white. You had to own property. As a matter of fact, until 1912, just in order to vote for the Senate, you had to own property. So there was only 200 years. So where's the democracy involved? You mean, is America, no, wait here.
Turn it the other way.
The other way, right?
No, it's upside down. No.
Upside down, right.
Yeah.
Is America a fraud? Wait a while. What about all those wonderful things we were taught in the school, the greatest country in the world? Actually, it has the greatest army in the world. Americans are in 750 bases all over the world, military bases, in every continent. And, well, you all know about that.
I will always cherish the original misconceptions I had about you, it says.
Yeah, America had great ideals, but or it presented itself with great ideals that haven't yet been realized. But we're still alive, right? So
yeah,
got a few more years before the sun burns us all to death. So see what you can do. Okay. Now, here's part of the great American heritage. See, when America often corrects its mistakes. So, after America killed Malcolm X, it stamped out U.S. stamped out, it put out the stamp in favor, like Martin Luther King gets a stamp too. A holiday. So remember that old proverb. If you're so smart, how come you're rich? Huh? Let's see, it takes a lot of people working hard to make another person who doesn't work at all very rich. That's how it works. That's how it works. We're coming to the Olympics. I hate sports of all kinds. Sports are substitutes for war, you know. So they're an advantage. As a matter of fact, if you go back, when the Spartans invented football, I think they were using a human head as a football. That's a joke, but the truth is that in the Western Hemisphere, some of the Indian civilizations did use human heads to play a kind of basketball game, and I think the losing team lost their heads too, so they had more balls. So, can you read this?
Yeah.
I like the, so these are the fig leaf event. And the winner is the Germans. You see how that foot is just covering the crotch of the that's a work of art.
Which one is the German one?
This one. Can you read it?
Oh, that one. Yeah, we were in close on that already. We saw that. That's handsome.
That's the German one, and the second place
That's
are the
really
Greeks.
handsome.
Look how wonderfully they use their robes to cover up their bad things.
Oh, yeah.
And third place, it
Yeah.
shows you how you can how fig leaves grow too. Diagram showing proportionate growth of different parts of the fig leaf, of the body, at various ages from 1 to 21. And this is my favorite, the honorable mention. This guy had a hydrocele, an enlarged testicle.
Oh, I thought
But
that
he
was the
doesn't have
winner.
a penis, so that's okay.
Which is the winner?
The winner was I thought the gold. The gold medal was awarded to the Germans, who it said in German. Let me read it for you. It says, "Und strebt mit 2 Schritten Vorsprung dem Ziele zu." And he strives with 2 great strides forward towards the goal. Actually, the Greek games were performed without clothes, a lot of them. But the other Olympic game that I like very much is the boxing game, where the contestants were allowed to use pieces of metal on their fists, on their hands, and it often ended with one of the boxers dying. But no one's perfect. So that happens in our boxing rings now. And in Sweden, boxing is outlawed. But in America, it's still going. Better than killing people directly, isn't it? So here, this is from... this is another great slogan: buy things, things are good for you. And Joe Farmer is saying, better send for another catalog, Mirandy. They're thinner this year. That must be on account of the market. People aren't buying too many things. That's all right. Now, remember what I think Abe Lincoln said: you can fool some of the people some of the time, blah, blah, blah. You can't fool all of the people all of the time, he said that, but Lincoln did. But most of the people, most of the time, is enough. Now, Lincoln gets credit for being one of the great presidents, but remember he also said if he could keep the Union together by abolishing slavery, he would do it. If he could keep it together by having it half slave and half free, he would do that. And if it was still slavery, where it is now, where it was then, that would be all right too. So the Civil War, in spite of what you learned in school, was basically a contest between the northern capitalist manufacturers and the agrarian economy of the South, as to who would control Congress and who would control all the economy and the tariffs, and which section of the country, which capitalists in which sections of the country would make more profit than the other capitalists. And Lincoln had a hard job. For instance, well, it isn't very known either that he once volunteered to fight the Indians in the French and Indian War, but he got there too late. He had a commission actually in August. But it isn't. Some of his hardest problems were you had to shoot deserters, because to teach them a lesson. So I think about 25 deserters were scheduled to be shot to death, and he got letters from mothers and sisters and sweethearts and wives of the deserters, and he decided to pardon 5 of them. So he had a terrific job of how hard it was for him to decide which of these men to kill and which not to kill. That's really a hard decision to make. How would you do that, Thelma? I don't know.
I
Also,
don't know.
there's another story about the immigrants. Irish immigrants were coming here during the Civil War. They were asked an innocent question like this. You want to become, as they landed, you want to become a citizen eventually, don't you? And when they answered yes, they were immediately sent to Detroit, to an island near Detroit, and enlisted voluntarily, and I mean, they were drafted and were sent out without a free day in the country to fight the country's civil war. Boy, was that civil. All right, so you realize that we get a lot of interesting quotes from Solomon, the great wise man. And you see this? This is what he said. He said, Solomon said.
I can't see it. All right, point it. Right.
Solomon said.
Let's see if I can see it. Yeah, I can read it.
Happiest is he
who is never born at all.
Never born at all.
Like evolved.
But how many people like that do you meet? How much time do we have?
We have 12 minutes, 11 minutes.
12 minutes. All right, these I found very recently, and I happily expropriated them and put them together. You know, there's an endless plethora of perverbs. You can make them yourself, you know. This is by a Jewish proverb from Tosefta, the Sanhedrin. That's a book that criticizes, a commentary on the Mishnah, which is a commentary on the Talmud, which is a commentary on the Bible. Those Jews never stop commenting, you know, never. Oy gewalt. So he said, when you, this rabbi, when you turn proud, remember that a flea preceded you in the order of divine creation. You know, man and women came later. So you should remember that, because he knew that already around the year 200.
You saying you believe in divine creation?
He did, sure.
Okay.
And then this is a new statement of that I found in a catalog that wants to sell you t-shirts, but I thought it was very clever. But it's basically saying the same thing, only with the present day technology. Over 25% of human genes are the same as those of a banana. Get over yourself. Get over yourself, Mr. President, Mr. Premier, Mr. Teacher, Mr. Professor, Mr. Tuli. Get over yourself. Because, as Crum said, the whole universe is completely insane. We knew that. It took me some time to figure that out. Did you figure that out yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole universe is completely insane. Yeah, but everyone is crazy in their own particular way. And that's what makes life so interesting.
Yeah, but who judged the universe to be insane?
Crum. But I think
part of
insane people would recognize that the universe is insane. And
right.
People who are not insane would take a little more time. So live it up, baby, before it lifts you up. You know, as the world as the world fastly burns, live it up, baby. So, how much time we got left?
We have 8 minutes.
8 minutes?
Yeah.
All right, so we go to the second string here. Don't worry. You've got enough here to give you a headache. The worst is yet to come. No.
All right.
Journalism. We learn everything through the media. No, not everything, but every lie comes through on the media. Why? Because it's profitable. If this is a cartoon drawn by Art Young, America's greatest cartoonist. He died probably in his 1930s. And the quote is by John Swinton, who was a great journalist and an editor at the New York Times. You remember the New York Times used to be a good paper. Oh, a good paper? Used to be a paper. You know this, and I know it. You see, you can see. It looks like these are prostitutes. And the only thing that's really changed here is the which advertises instead of railroads now, for instance, you have airlines. You know this, and I know it. And what folly is this to be toasting an independent press?
You call them prostitutes?
Yeah.
That's funny.
We are the tools and vassals of rich men behind the scenes. We are the jumping jacks. They pull the strings, and we dance. Our talents and our lives are the property of other men. We are intellectual prostitutes. And that man ought to know. He was a top editor at the New York Times. Now, some of you may believe in education, right? And there's some good there somewhere if you can find it. I know people who went to Harvard and been up there, up that way a while. And this is another list of great Harvard people. You can always, this is a proverb, you can always tell a Harvard man, but you can't tell him much. Here are some other Harvard people. Cotton Mather, you remember Salem, he burnt witches at Salem. John Adams, these are all graduates. He passed the Alien and Sedition Acts, in which about a score of newspaper editors were put into jail for criticizing his foreign policy. It put into jail. There's shades of things to come. Rutherford B. Hayes stole the presidency. You know, they manipulated the Electoral College. The Electoral College was put there to keep everything as far away as possible from the people itself. So that three or four of the presidents have been elected, became president without getting even a majority of votes. William Randolph Hearst and Teddy Roosevelt, they manufactured Cuba, the Cuban War. J.P. Morgan was the World War. These are all Harvard graduates. World War II profiteer. Talcott Parsons, professor, brought Nazis over to this country to help in the missile programs, I guess. John F. Kennedy established the Green Berets, who were very skilled at what they do. I shudder to think of what they do. Nathan Pusey was president when the students had huge protests against the Vietnam War. Some of them were expelled, but the son of a friend of mine was expelled, but I think they got him back later. Kissinger, the great who got the Peace Award, was both a graduate and a professor there, and is now under. If he goes to France or Germany, I think he will be immediately arrested as a war criminal, tried as a war criminal. 4 minutes. Cap Weinberger did Grenada in. Elliot Abrams did Nicaragua, and Bush #2 went to the financial school. He did Iraq. Still doing it. Okay, we've got 4 minutes.
3.5.
Let's not end on a bad. I'm gonna sing this song, which is adopted from. Literally, the words are by Fitzgerald supposedly Omar Khayyam, who had very little to do with it. Sometimes the translations are better than the original. There was no original. Fitzgerald worked on this for 40 years. He produced a beautiful work. These are three of the quatrains. Myself, when young, did eagerly frequent doctor and saint, and heard great argument about it and about, but evermore came out by the same door, came out by the same door wherein I went. Dee-da-dee-da-dee-da, dee-da-dee-da-dee. Some for the glories of this world, and some sigh for the prophet's paradise to come. Take the cash and let the credit go, nor heed the rumble of a distant drum. If you can, boy, watch out for that next draft act. And the last of my favorite line. A book of verses underneath the bough, a jug of wine, a loaf of bread, and thou beside me singing in the wilderness. Oh, wilderness, wilderness for paradise. Now.
Okay, I'm trying to get that great picture. All right, I got your face. Those beautiful people sitting together. All right, let's get a nice picture of that. Okay.
All right, so stare at this for all the time we have left.
Okay, we just have 2 minutes. So, who did those woodcut? Who did those beautiful drawings? What was his name? How long ago?
His name is on here. I can't read it.
Oh, right.
Let's see. It was Edmund.
Yeah.
Edmund. I guess he was American.
Right.
Fitzgerald, of course, was British. I guess it's an Irish name, but he was a rich gentleman who spent his time doing this wonderful poetry.
Well, let's see those other illustrations. I don't think I have that other. The one where he's giving some coins to a beggar. That take the cash and let the credit go. Yeah, that's another one. Okay, and then there's another one up here. Beautiful illustration. Black and white. I don't know what they're doing there. What's in that top illustration?
What's that?
The top illustration, what is it?
The top one is coming out the same door where he went.
Okay, it's time to say goodbye.
All right, so have a good one and live it up, baby.